All right, Kenman here. We are on Die Project 18 Part 2. Right. Jeez, what happened to 15? I know 15, the marble die exists. Still kind of coming up with the color. I promise it's coming up. It's coming up. But we are doing 18 Part 2, the Watauga today. Let's not really waste any time. Everyone knows how long I can make these go. We're going to see if we can try to streamline a little bit. Here's everything we need for the reassembly. I'm going to put it out of our way. Get a little glimpse of some stuff coming up in the future. Not going to waste any time talking about that stuff right now. We have to focus, Kenman, and not have a 4-hour video. All right, so I have these little hooks made out of metal, and makes it easier to get in and out of the die. If you're now just tuning in for the first time, welcome. We're gonna have some fun here, and if you haven't watched any of the other die videos, bing, you can check them out right there. If we have time, we'll look at some of the ones that are done. We'll at least take a glimpse at them, but maybe talk about them depending on how this goes. All right, we are doing blue today. Sorry, I'm looking at my temp, kind of turning it up a little bit. Okay, we're doing blue with this Watauga by Sencut. These are nice and clean and ready to go. We're going to start getting them in this die, but we want to kind of splash them around and make sure there are no bubbles or any chunks of undissolved dye. The dye is a powder I dissolved in a liquid. This is an older one. You can also get liquid dyes, but this one was originally a powder. And so I'm just trying to make sure I get a nice uniform coating on there. No weird bubbly splotches or anything like that. Like I can see this little chunk right here. That's fine. And now my hand will be blue for a month. It is dye, so when it gets on something, it likes to keep it that color. All right, I think we have enough of a decent coating. I'm trying to get that dye off my hand before I start staining myself, and then all my videos I'm gonna have blue hands, look like a Smurf. Okay, I think these are sufficiently coated. You know, we could do super light blue. Do we want to look at it just for the heck of it? Why not? All right, now we're making the video potentially longer. Well, it could be. We're just going to go ahead and neutralize this dye right now. Just take a look. Holy goodness. Really? Wow. Wow, this blue really... I might like this already. What do we have? 3 minutes? That was, how long was that in there? We'll go back and look. I honestly think we're done. Last time we used this particular blue dye was on the feldspar, which is one of the first ones we did. And I don't remember it going that quick. I'm turning that dye off. I think we are already... Wow. Okay, I'm just moving that up there, off screen. Let's pull these down. Holy goodness. There's a couple little chunks on there still. Wow. I actually kind of like this blue jean. Slightly lighter blue. The Watauga has like a soft, kind of brushed metal on it. And I think a lighter blue like this might actually look really good. I got a little overexcited on the rinse being done. I'm just trying to make sure I don't have any. There's a little bit of flake. I might need to get rid of that blue and just buy some good liquid of this particular shade. But I did look, I have like 3 different liquid shades that I can mix. And none of them were quite exactly what I was looking for. I'm moving this stuff out of the way because we're not going to look at any knives right now. We're going to go to reassembly, get this done, maybe, and then look at stuff since we're moving along quick here. Although I do want it to dry, So maybe we will look at a couple of things while it's drying. I'm just a little overexcited. That went really fast. That was kind of like the way the red went, where the red is all of a minute. I'm gonna pull these over because I do want to let those dry for a good minute or two, just to make sure. See, like right there. See how it's kind of chunky? See that? That is going to come off. See, now it's pretty much gone and it's on the rag. That was like some almost like powdery chunks from my cheaply deteriorating, not dissolving properly powder dye that I've had for probably 10 or more years. Not gonna lie, I'm completely honest. I probably had that dye for a good 10 years. But I've used it a couple times and it's been fine. It's just, it has been a little chunky. I've noticed that, so maybe I need to put that into consideration. Although I think by noticing that it's there and removing it and noticing a little piece that was on it when I was originally dipping them, it kind of prevented. Actually, I think when we did this one, you see that little, sorry about the camera. See that little black, darker spot right there? That's a permanent little spot. This is the Civivi, there's your fail. Civivi Ferrum Forge collaboration Odium. One of the first ones that we did. But yeah, I think that little darker spot right there is from this very little thing that I'm talking about with this dye that I have. So that's something that you do want to consider with your dye, is if you did use a powder dye, that you want to make sure that it's nice and fully dissolved. Unless maybe you want to not dissolve it, have it be chunky, and then actually use that chunkiness as a pattern, design, logo. These are all the ones we've done already. What do you think? This is the Kubi, oh my goodness, Dan. Wow, brain, forget it. Another Kubi. Phineas. I love this knife. Look at this. Bam. Vision FG. Like I said, this was in that red dye for 1 minute. That one was in the dye for 2 minutes. This Artisan Cutlery, I think it was only in there for a couple minutes as well. Turned out really good. Kind of a nice, kind of more of a maroon color. These were both white G10 and this was the jade, so that jade kind of made the red a little bit more of a dull color. Here is that other Sencut, the Crowley. Awesome knife. Ah, jeez. Getting a bunch of fails today. We did this for a very short amount of time and it gave us that see-through kind of look, which is really cool. All right, I'm spending too much time. All right, let's go. And then we've got this Watauga we got to put back together, and it's a button lock. So is that going to give us issues, or is that going to make it easier on us? Comment below. I have everything blocked off. Nothing can roll under the refrigerator as has in the past. I have everything. Stove, I'm covered. And watch me jinx it just by saying I'm covered. I think this softer blue looks great. What's everyone feel about it? That's wonderful. Looks like it's a little darker up there. That might be kind of coming through. You see that little nick? It's not a nick, but that might be one of those little chunks of that blue that I didn't get. Live and learn. Live, learn, move on. Okay, let's bring this in, get this stuff out of the way. Bada bing, I gotta set that there. And we are ready. Take a breath, soak it in. 9:42, let's begin. All right, I kind of try to make this smart. Scale 1. Fresh towel. Really going to get in that button spot just to make sure where that spring is sitting. It's nice and dry. I think we're good. One last dry towel push. Sorry to bump you all there. I hope you don't get dizzy. This ride has bumps. Okay, so here's my plan. Pivot through the piece. Boom. I have this. I'm going to set it down. That's a plan. Got this piece fabricated with all said parts. Right. Okay, we have the button lock side. That's going to be like that. Okay. The spring for the button is going to go into this hole there. The button is going to go into corresponding opposite side and all the way through like that. Okay. Almost looks like I have an idea of what I'm doing. Okay, we have spacer bearing knife. Okay. Spring right there. What's going to be the easiest? Closed? I wonder. I'm going to leave it right there. Alright, so now I'm going to line up the button over the spring and then try to make this happen. Sliding it away. Okay. Don't cut yourself. Oh, look at this. Okay, relax. When you put a knife back together, you have to be aware and cautious to make sure you get the blade centered properly. So basically, I like to put everything back in its home, but kind of loose and not too tight. You just kind of get it started, and then once you go, you can kind of slowly get everything tightened down and then get that blade centered properly. And if you don't, then you can, there's some techniques you can do that you can loosen it up and then you can get it centered where it needs to be. So it's not the end of the world, but if you just try to pay attention, you can do it all as you put her back together. And it should be fine. I'm going to... Why? What have I done wrong? That button spring does not push. Great. Not sure what I did wrong. Okay, there's the button. Button goes over the spring like that. Right. Maybe you have to do it like that. All right, well, it works now. Sorry about that little hiccup. I'm not sure what it just was. It was caught on something improperly. It wasn't fully tightened, but I had something improperly done, so the button was not depressing for some reason. But I have got it taken care of. All right, let's continue. Not a terrible hiccup, but that's the thing. That's the first time I've ever put this knife back together. You know, I watch the video, play back, make sure, kind of pay attention to how I took it apart. And plan a little bit with the parts as they're sitting there to try to prep yourself to how it goes back together. But you never know what's going to happen. Why is that not going in? I'm not putting enough pressure on it. There we go. So a lot of times that pocket clip has that little spring that, I just kind of moved that back and forth and made a little scratch on the scale because it had a little pressure on it and it wasn't lined up, and I turned it and you saw it, but that's fine. Life goes on. Okay. Now let's see if we can get this blade centered. Not bad. Oh, and the body screws are all, I don't remember if I mentioned that. They're all T8s on this one, which is cool. The pocket clip is T6. It's pretty standard, T6s and T8s. But it's not so bad. It'd be nice if they were just all T8s because they have this little backup screw that fills in on the other side that also holds that barrel. It's a T8 on this side and a T6 on the other, and they're swappable. So, I mean, you could just make them all like that, and it'd be good. A little tight. Oh, and boom, 1656. Get this stuff out of the way. Not terrible. One little hiccup, pow. That blade is centered. Flips out great. Snaps back. Boom. Fuller? Yes. Thumb fuller? Yes. Oh, okay. What's everyone think of the completed Watauga? 17:27 is the time on the clock. Woo! Worked out. And every time I feel, you know what it is, every time I've done a die and we get done and we put it back together, the action on the knife is better than when I started with it. It's like stupid perfect right now. I mean, you see this. I can still fail because we're on a filming, but man, yes, happy days. Okay, get you out of here right on the towel. Bada bing, bada boom. Comment below. What does everyone think? Are we having fun? 18. Die number 18. Complete. Let's take a look. How much time should I mess around? We're at 18 minutes. Boom. This is everything that's been completed on the channel. Comment below. What's your favorite? What do you want to see next? Speaking of next, go ahead and got all these. We got the two penguins. We got the Lago. We got the two Sencuts. Man, I've had this Kaiser Amicus for probably was one of the longest ones on the table. Look at the action on this, though. Color do you want it? Maybe we can do it next. And the little Concept Mini Cleaver. Lots of good stuff. Been having fun. Really enjoying this. Final looks here. The Watauga is complete. It's in its new form with this blue. Turned out good. Action still good. Centering is nice. What does everyone have to say? Happy day. Kenman is feeling it. That is going to be it for today. If you enjoy what you see, please hit that like button. And subscribe if you'd like to see more. Helps me out, and I really appreciate it. Stay sharp. We will see you soon.